This can't be. God, no.
Stop making a scene. You are embarrassing me.
Wife ordered pasta at a restaurant. Then a waitress slipped her a note that wrecked their marriage. Lisa Brooks was 36 years old. And on October 12, 2024, at exactly 8:17 p.m., a waitress she'd never spoken to before handed her a folded napkin that exposed a $965,000 deception, shattered her 9-year marriage, and revealed that the man she'd built a life with had been meticulously planning to take their daughter and destroy her financially for the past 20 months. Hello, my beautiful story family. Welcome back. Before we dive into Lisa's incredible story, I have a small but heartfelt request. Please subscribe. Your support is what keeps these stories alive. Every time you click that like button, you are helping us share voices that would otherwise be forgotten and stories that deserve to be heard. And in the comments, please tell us the city or country where you are watching from, because together, we are not just sharing stories, we are keeping hope alive. Lisa Brooks arrived at Il Giardino 20 minutes early, clutching the reservation confirmation on her phone like a lifeline. The hostess, a young woman with a sleek ponytail and an elegant black dress, greeted her with practiced warmth. "Brooks, party of two," Lisa said, her voice steadier than she felt. "I requested the corner table by the window. Table 14. Of course, Mrs. Brooks. Right this way." Lisa followed her through the restaurant, past couples leaning close over candlelight, past the rich smell of garlic and wine and fresh bread. Il Giardino was everything she'd hoped. Intimate without being cramped, elegant without being pretentious. The kind of place where conversations happened, where marriages could be saved. The corner table was perfect. Soft amber lighting from the wall sconce. A view of the Denver skyline through floor-to-ceiling windows. 2 wine glasses already set, waiting to be filled with the Brunello she'd ordered in advance. Alexander's favorite. "This is lovely," Lisa told the hostess. "Thank you." She sat facing the entrance so she could see Alexander arrive. She smoothed her emerald green wrap dress, the one she'd bought specifically for tonight, the one that cost more than she usually spent on herself. She checked her reflection in her compact mirror. Hair perfect. Makeup subtle but polished. She looked like a woman trying very hard. Because she was. Her phone buzzed. A text from Alexander, running late. "Order without me if you want." Lisa's stomach clenched. She typed back, "No rush. I'll wait. Love you." No response. She sat there for 15 minutes, watching couples arrive, watching waitstaff glide past with plates of handmade pasta and bottles of wine. Watching her marriage slip further away with every minute Alexander didn't show. When he finally walked in at 7:32 p.m., 15 minutes past their reservation time, he was already on his phone. His charcoal gray Tom Ford suit was impeccable, his sandy brown hair perfectly styled. He looked every inch the successful corporate attorney. He also looked annoyed. "Sorry," he said, not sounding sorry at all as he slid into his chair without kissing her, without even really looking at her. "The Hendricks merger is insane right now. I've got 3 partners breathing down my neck." "It's okay," Lisa said, smiling even as something inside her cracked a little more. "I'm just glad you made it. You look handsome." He glanced up briefly. "Thanks. You too." His eyes were already back on his phone. Their waitress appeared, a young black woman with kind, observant eyes and a professional demeanor. Her name tag read Stephanie Harrison. "Good evening," Stephanie said warmly. "Can I start you with some wine? We have a beautiful Brunello already." "I'll have a Barolo," Alexander interrupted, still typing. "The 18 if you have it. Large pour." "We actually have a Brunello di Montalcino already selected for your table," Stephanie said gently. "A 2017 vintage." "I said Barolo." Alexander's tone could have frozen the wine in the bottle. "Is that going to be a problem?" Lisa felt her face flush. "Alexander, the Barolo is perfect," Stephanie said smoothly, her professionalism never wavering though Lisa saw something flicker in her eyes. "Recognition, maybe. Or pity. I'll bring that right out. And for you, ma'am?" "Just water is fine," Lisa said quietly. "Thank you. And I'm sorry." "No apology necessary," Stephanie said, meeting Lisa's eyes with unexpected warmth. "I'll be right back." The moment she left, Lisa leaned forward. "Alexander, I ordered that Brunello specifically because it's your favorite. From that vineyard in Tuscany you loved when we... Lisa, I've had a 14-hour day, Alexander said, setting his phone down just long enough to give her an exasperated look. I didn't come here to be interrogated about wine preferences. Can we just have a nice dinner without you making everything into a drama? The words hit like a slap. Making everything into a drama. For ordering his favorite wine. For trying to make their anniversary that he'd forgotten until she reminded him, special. Of course, Lisa said, her voice small. I'm sorry. Stephanie returned with Alexander's Barolo, a $42 glass, and Lisa's water. As she set them down, Lisa saw her watching Alexander with barely concealed contempt, then watching Lisa with something that looked like concern. Are you ready to order? Stephanie asked. Finally, Alexander muttered. I'll have the agnolotti, short rib, and keep the wine coming. And for you? Stephanie asked Lisa, her tone noticeably warmer. The pappardelle with wild mushrooms, please, Lisa said. And thank you so much. After Stephanie left, Lisa tried again. So, Emma's school play is Friday night. She's so excited. She's been practicing her sunflower lines every single day. She made me promise that both of us would. I'm flying to Chicago Thursday, Alexander said, scrolling through emails. Back Sunday. The Hendricks merger. Lisa's heart sank. But you promised Emma. She's been counting on you being there. Plans change, Lisa. She's 6. She won't even remember this play in a year. He took a long drink of his Barolo. You can record it on your phone or whatever. Alexander, she's your daughter. And you're smothering her. His voice was sharp now, cutting. You're always hovering, always making everything about her feelings. Kids need to learn disappointment. I had a career at her age. My dad had a career. I learned early that the world doesn't revolve around me. Lisa stared at him. She's 6 years old. Exactly. Stop treating her like she's made of glass. He waved dismissively. Besides, you're always traveling for those pharmaceutical conferences. What's the difference? I've traveled twice this year, Lisa said, her voice tight. You travel twice a month. For work, Alexander snapped. Real work. Not peddling pills to doctors. The contempt in his voice was like acid. Lisa had a degree in biochemistry. She'd built her career in pharmaceutical sales through expertise and relationship building. She earned $195,000 a year. And he talked about her job like she was handing out samples at a grocery store. I see, Lisa said quietly. Stephanie arrived with their appetizers. Burrata for Alexander, capris for Lisa. As she set down Lisa's plate, a folded cloth napkin fell silently into Lisa's lap. Their eyes met for just a moment. Stephanie gave the smallest nod toward the restrooms. Lisa's heart began to pound. Alexander hadn't even noticed. He was back on his phone, his burrata untouched. With trembling fingers, Lisa unfolded the napkin beneath the table. I'm so sorry to do this to you. Your husband has been coming here every Wednesday and Friday night for 20 months with a woman named Amelia Ashford from his law firm. They sit in booth 9 by the kitchen. Last week, I overheard them discussing divorce papers and custody strategy. They're planning to take your daughter from you. He's hidden over $520,000 in offshore accounts. There's a secret real estate purchase in both their names. She called you the obstacle and said you'd never see it coming. I have photos. Ladies' room, 5 minutes. I'm doing this because my dad did this to my mom, hid money, fabricated evidence, took me and my brother from her for 3 years. I couldn't watch it happen to someone else without trying to help. Stephanie. The restaurant noise became a roar. The words blurred and refocused. 20 months. Amelia Ashford. Custody strategy. Take your daughter. Lisa looked up at Alexander. Really looked at him. His Tom Ford suit. His Rolex Submariner, $8,500, a gift to himself last year. His perfectly styled hair. His 3rd glass of wine in 20 minutes. His complete indifference to everything she'd tried to do tonight. The way he'd stopped saying we and started saying I. The way he'd suggested her work travel was excessive when she barely traveled at all. The way he'd started criticizing her parenting, calling her smothering, saying Emma needed structure. Wednesday and Friday nights. Business development dinners. For 20 months. Lisa, are you even listening? Alexander's voice cut through her thoughts. What? I said this wine is mediocre at best. I don't know why you picked this place. The sterling oak would have been better. He gestured around dismissively. This is trying too hard. It's not authentic Italian. It's Denver suburban housewife Italian. Every word was designed to cut, to diminish, to make her feel small. How long had he been talking to her this way? How long had she been making excuses for it? Excuse me, Lisa said, standing. I need to use the restroom. Don't take forever, Alexander said, not looking up. I have calls to make after dinner. Lisa walked toward the back of the restaurant, the napkin clutched in her hand. She passed booth 9, the corner booth by the kitchen, romantic lighting, half hidden from view. Perfect for secrets. She pushed open the ladies' room door. Stephanie Harrison was waiting, her phone in her hand, her professional mask dropped to reveal fierce determination and old pain. I'm so sorry, Stephanie said immediately. But I had to tell you. Lisa couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. Stephanie held out her phone. I have 186 photos, she said quietly. Of them together. Of documents spread on their table. Custody petitions. Financial statements. Character assassination plans. She swiped to the first photo. Alexander and an elegant blonde woman, holding hands across a table. The second photo, them kissing in a parking lot. The third, documents with the words Brooks versus Brooks visible. That's Amelia Ashford, Stephanie said. Senior partner at Morrison & Klein. Worth $4.2 million. She's also married. The affair violates your husband's firm ethics policy. Lisa's legs gave out. She caught herself on the sink. How long? She whispered. At least 20 months. Maybe longer. Stephanie paused. Last Friday, I heard her tell him that once he had primary custody, you'd have no leverage. That you'd be neutralized. The word hung in the air like poison. Stephanie pressed a USB drive into Lisa's palm. Every photo. Every conversation. Everything documented. My law school roommate is Marvin Chandler, family law specialist. His number's on the drive. Call him tonight. Her voice broke. You have maybe 2 weeks before your husband files. You need to file first. My daughter, Lisa whispered. Then fight, Stephanie said fiercely. Promise me you'll fight. Lisa nodded, unable to speak. She returned to the table. Alexander was on his 4th glass of wine, still on his phone. Took you long enough, he muttered. Lisa sat down, picked up her fork with a steady hand she didn't feel. She looked at the man across from her, this stranger who'd been planning her destruction for 20 months. And she understood with perfect clarity. The woman who'd walked into this restaurant, desperate to save her marriage, no longer existed. In her place sat a mother who'd just learned her child was in danger. And Alexander Brooks had no idea what he'd just awakened. The ladies' room at Il Giardino was all cream marble and soft lighting, designed to be a sanctuary from the dining room's energy. But Lisa felt like she was suffocating as she pushed through the door, the napkin still clutched in her trembling hand. Stephanie Harrison stood by the far sink, her phone already out, her professional waitress demeanor completely stripped away. What remained was raw determination mixed with something that looked like barely healed trauma. I'm so sorry, Stephanie said the moment the door closed. I've been debating for 3 weeks whether to tell you. Every Wednesday and Friday I'd watch you both come in. Well, watch him come in with her, and I'd think, someone needs to warn his wife. But getting involved in someone's marriage, in their life. She shook her head. I could lose my job. I could be sued. But then last Friday, I heard them talking about taking your daughter, and I couldn't stay silent anymore. Lisa's voice came out strangled. You said custody strategy. You said they're planning to take Emma. They are. Stephanie's eyes were fierce now. I heard them. They were reviewing documents. Legal papers spread right across their table in booth 9. Your husband was highlighting sections, making notes. She was coaching him on strategy. She paused. I know what those documents look like because I lived through it. I was 9 years old when my father took me and my brother from our mom using the exact same playbook. Lisa's legs felt like they might give out. She gripped the marble countertop. What do you mean the same playbook? Stephanie's jaw tightened, and for a moment she looked like that 9-year-old girl again, lost, betrayed, powerless. My father was a financial advisor. Made about $180,000 a year. My mom was a teacher, $52,000. He spent 2 years hiding money, creating fake documentation, building a case that she was unstable, neglectful, unfit. He had colleagues who'd never even met her write affidavits saying she was emotionally volatile. He documented every time she was 5 minutes late picking us up from school. He photographed our house on the one day she was too sick to clean. He built an entire narrative of incompetence and instability. Did it work? Lisa whispered, though she already knew the answer. For 3 years. Stephanie's voice cracked. The judge believed him because he was polished, professional, had expensive lawyers, and seemed so concerned about our welfare. My mom was shell-shocked, couldn't afford good representation, and fell apart on the stand. We lived with him and his girlfriend, the woman he'd been cheating with the whole time, while my mom fought with everything she had to get us back. How did she? A paper trail. Stephanie's voice hardened. My mom finally scraped together enough money to hire a forensic accountant. They found $340,000 my father had hidden. Found emails between him and his girlfriend discussing the custody strategy. Found proof that the affidavits were coordinated lies. It took 3 years, but she got us back. She looked at Lisa with intense focus. But those 3 years destroyed her financially, emotionally, professionally. She lost her house, her savings, almost lost her will to live. And my brother and I. Her voice broke. We were 9 and 11. We spent 3 years believing our mother didn't want us, that she'd abandoned us. Do you understand what that does to children? Lisa's breath came in short gasps. Emma is 6. Which is why I'm showing you this now. Stephanie held up her phone. Before he files. Before you're reacting instead of acting. Before your daughter spends even one day thinking you didn't fight for her. She opened her photo gallery. I started documenting in February 2023. That's when I began working here and noticed the pattern. Every Wednesday. Every Friday. Same booth. Same couple. I didn't think much of it at first. Lots of people have regular dinner partners. But then I saw how they looked at each other. How they held hands when they thought no one was watching. How they'd kiss in the parking lot. She swiped to the first photo. Alexander and an elegant blonde woman. Late 40s, expertly styled, wearing a navy Armani suit that probably cost more than Lisa's entire wardrobe. Sitting across from each other in booth 9. Their fingers were intertwined on the table between wine glasses and pasta plates. The timestamp read, February 17, 2023. 20 months ago. Stephanie swiped again. Another photo of them, different date. Then another. Another. Dozens of images chronicling an affair spanning nearly 2 years. That's Amelia Ashford, Stephanie said. Senior partner at Morrison & Klein. Specializes in corporate mergers and acquisitions. According to Colorado Lawyer Magazine's Power List from last year, she's worth about $4.2 million. She's married. Husband's a surgeon, Dr. Robert Ashford. No children. She paused meaningfully. She's also your husband's direct supervisor, which means their relationship violates Morrison & Klein's ethics policy on supervisor-subordinate relationships. I looked it up. Lisa stared at the photos, each one a small detonation in her chest. Alexander laughing. Alexander leaning close. Alexander looking at this woman the way he used to look at Lisa a lifetime ago. These are damning, Lisa managed. But you said custody documents? October 4th, Stephanie said, swiping forward. Last Friday. They came in around 7:30. I was assigned to their section. The photo showed booth 9 from a distance, taken from behind the hostess stand, Lisa realized. On the table between Alexander and Amelia were papers. Lots of papers. Even in the photo, Lisa could make out legal-sized documents, highlighted sections, handwritten notes. Stephanie zoomed in on one page. The header was visible. Brooks versus Brooks, petition for dissolution of marriage and child custody. Lisa's vision blurred. He's already drafted it. There's more. Stephanie swiped to another photo, this one closer. Different document. The heading read, Evidence of Maternal Unfitness, L. Brooks. The room spun. I couldn't get close enough to read everything, Stephanie said. But I heard them talking. Your husband was saying something about your excessive work travel affecting Emma's stability. Amelia was coaching him. Make sure you document every trip, every late pickup from school, every time she prioritizes work over Emma. She told him to get statements from your daughter's teachers about behavioral concerns. Emma doesn't have behavioral concerns, Lisa said, her voice rising. She's thriving. Her teachers say she's. I know, Stephanie said gently. That's how this works. They create problems that don't exist. They manufacture evidence. They take normal life, a parent working, a child having a bad day at school, and twist it into a narrative of neglect. She swiped to more photos. Close-ups of other documents on their table. Financial statements. Account numbers. Property records. I also heard them discussing money, Stephanie continued. Amelia asked if he'd moved the latest transfer. Your husband said something about another 75 into the Cayman account, and she hasn't noticed anything. Stephanie's voice hardened. Then Amelia said, and I quote, once you have primary custody, Lisa will have no leverage. She'll be too broke to fight, and we can be together openly. The obstacle will be neutralized. The obstacle. Lisa had been reduced to an obstacle. Not a wife. Not a mother. Not a person who'd supported Alexander through law school, through bar exam failures, through every professional setback and triumph. An obstacle to be neutralized. How much? Lisa whispered. How much money are we talking about? From what I heard over multiple dinners, and I wrote everything down with dates and times, at least $520,000. Probably more. Offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands. A property purchase somewhere. I heard them mention a condo, but not where. Investment accounts in his name only. Stephanie's voice was grim. Your husband is an attorney. He knows how to hide assets. He's been doing this systematically for at least 20 months. Maybe longer. Lisa felt like she was drowning. I check our accounts. I would have noticed. You check the accounts he wants you to see, Stephanie said gently. The joint checking, the joint savings, maybe the investment accounts with both names. But these are separate accounts. Hidden accounts. Money redirected before it ever touches anything you have access to. Bonuses he claims were smaller than they were. Business expenses that were actually cash withdrawals. It's sophisticated because he's a lawyer. He knows exactly how to do this. Stephanie pulled a USB drive from her apron pocket. Everything's on here. All 186 photos with dates, times, and locations. A written timeline of every conversation I overheard, with as much detail as I could remember. Names, amounts, everything. I also included my contact information and a signed statement explaining why I'm providing this evidence. She pressed the drive into Lisa's palm, closing Lisa's fingers around it. There's also a phone number on here. Marvin Chandler. He's a family law attorney who specializes in high-conflict custody cases and hidden assets. He's the lawyer who saved my mom, who finally found all the money my father hid, who got the judge to see through the lies, who got me and my brother back to her. I can't afford. He works on contingency for asset recovery cases, Stephanie interrupted. If he finds hidden money, and trust me, with what I heard, there's hidden money, he takes a percentage of what he recovers. You don't pay unless he finds something. And for custody work, he'll work out a payment plan. He's expensive, but he's worth it. Call him tonight. Tell him Stephanie Harrison sent you, and that you have documented evidence of asset concealment and custody manipulation. Lisa's mind was reeling. Why are you doing this? You could get sued. Fired. Why risk it? Stephanie's eyes filled with tears. Because I was 9 years old when I watched my father's girlfriend move into our house, while my mother sobbed on the phone begging to talk to us. I was 9 when I started believing my mother didn't love me because my father told me she'd chosen her career over us. I was 12 before I understood that everything he'd told me was a lie. Her voice broke. I can't watch that happen to your daughter. I can't watch another mother be destroyed when I have information that could save her. I won't be able to live with myself. Lisa's tears spilled over. I don't know how to thank you. Fight, Stephanie said fiercely. That's how you thank me. Call Marvin tonight. Show him this evidence. File first, before your husband does. I heard them say he's planning to file right after his Chicago trip. That gives you maybe 2 weeks, maybe less. She gripped Lisa's shoulders. You have to move faster than him. You have to strike first. And you have to fight like your daughter's life depends on it, because it does. I will, Lisa whispered. One more thing, Stephanie said. Amelia Ashford being his supervisor means the affair violates firm policy. If Morrison and Klein's ethics committee finds out, there could be professional consequences. For both of them. That's leverage. Lisa nodded, barely processing. You need to get back, Stephanie said, checking her phone. You've been gone almost 6 minutes. Don't let him get suspicious. Be normal. Be the wife he expects. Give him no reason to think anything has changed. Lisa looked at her reflection in the mirror. Her mascara was smudged. Her eyes were red. She looked like someone who'd just had her world destroyed. She splashed cold water on her face, fixed her makeup with shaking hands, and forced herself to breathe. When she met her own eyes in the mirror, she didn't see the woman who'd arrived at this restaurant desperate to save her marriage. She saw a mother preparing for war. Thank you, Lisa said to Stephanie one last time. Thank you for giving me a chance. Protect her, Stephanie said simply. Lisa walked back to the table, the USB drive burning in her clutch purse like evidence of fire. Alexander was on his phone, his agnolotti untouched, his wine glass nearly empty again. He didn't even look up when she sat down. And Lisa understood with perfect crystalline clarity. This man had already left their marriage, had already left their family, had spent 20 months planning how to take everything from her. Their home, their money, their daughter, while Lisa had been here trying to save something that no longer existed. But he'd made one fatal mistake. He'd underestimated what a mother would do to protect her child. And that mistake was going to cost him everything. Lisa forced herself to eat 3 bites of pappardelle she couldn't taste. Alexander was on his 5th glass of Barolo, scrolling through emails with aggressive thumb swipes, his agnolotti congealing untouched on the plate. This service is pathetic, he muttered, not looking up. We've been sitting here for 40 minutes, and they still haven't cleared the appetizers. This is why I wanted to go to Sterling Oak. At least they understand fine dining. Lisa said nothing. The USB drive in her clutch felt radioactive. And this pasta is overcooked, Alexander continued, pushing his plate away in disgust though he hadn't taken a single bite. $68 for mush. Unbelievable. Stephanie appeared to clear their plates, her eyes finding Lisa's with a question. Are you okay? Lisa gave the smallest nod. I will be. Can we get the check? Alexander said without acknowledging Stephanie's existence. I have calls to make, and this whole evening has been a waste of time. A waste of time. Their anniversary dinner. Lisa's desperate attempt to save their marriage. A waste of time. The bill came to $267. Alexander threw down his corporate card without looking at it, signed with an illegible scrawl, and left 0 tip. Lisa pulled 3 20s from her wallet, all the cash she had, and pressed them into Stephanie's hand as they left. Thank you, she whispered. For everything. Stephanie squeezed her hand. Call him tonight. In the car, Alexander immediately took a phone call. Hey, it's me, he said, his voice instantly warmer than it had been all evening. Yeah, finally leaving. Dinner was awful. No, she picked some mediocre Italian place. A pause. I know. Just a few more days. Lisa's hands gripped the steering wheel. She was driving because Alexander had 5 glasses of wine. She stared at the road, at the Denver lights blurring past, while her husband talked to his mistress 3 feet away from her. So Thursday morning, Alexander continued. I'm thinking we take the 9 a.m. to O'Hare. I booked us at the Peninsula. Yeah, the suite with the skyline view. We can do that thing at Alinea you wanted. I got us a reservation. He laughed at something Amelia said. No, she has no idea. She thinks I'm there for depositions. She believes everything. Lisa's vision tunneled. She forced herself to breathe steadily, to keep her face neutral, to not drive the car off the road. I know, baby. Alexander's voice dropped lower, intimate. Just a few more weeks. The papers are almost ready. January filing like we planned. By Valentine's Day, you and I will be celebrating properly. Another pause. I love you too. See you tomorrow at the office. He hung up, said nothing to Lisa. Just went back to scrolling through his phone like he hadn't just planned a romantic getaway with another woman while sitting next to his wife. They pulled into their driveway, their beautiful craftsman-style home in Washington Park that they'd bought together 6 years ago, that held every memory of Emma's childhood, that Alexander was apparently planning to take from her along with everything else. "I'm going to my office," Alexander said, already heading upstairs. "I've got briefs to review." Lisa stood in the foyer, listening to his footsteps, to the door closing, to the lock clicking. He locked his office door now. When had that started? She climbed the stairs on shaking legs and walked to Emma's room. Her daughter was asleep, starfish sprawled across her twin bed with its sunflower-patterned comforter. Emma's dark curls were tangled on the pillow. Her favorite stuffed elephant was clutched in one hand. On her nightstand was the construction paper sunflower she'd made for her school play, petals colored in meticulous yellow crayon. Lisa sank down in the doorway, her hand over her mouth to muffle the sob trying to escape. This child, this perfect, innocent, joyful child who still believed her daddy hung the moon, who practiced her 2 sunflower lines every night at dinner while Alexander scrolled through his phone, who drew pictures of their family, Mommy, Daddy, and Emma holding hands under a smiling sun, that Alexander never looked at. They were going to take her. They were going to fabricate lies about Lisa being unfit, unstable, neglectful. They were going to convince a judge that this child would be better off with a father who'd forgotten every school event for the past year, who called her school play that thing, who was planning romantic getaways while his daughter slept 30 feet away. Over my dead body, Lisa thought with sudden, crystalline clarity. She kissed Emma's forehead gently, pulled the blanket up over her shoulders, and whispered, "Mommy's got you, baby. I promise." Then she went to her own office, the small room at the end of the hall where she worked from home 2 days a week, and locked the door. It was 10:47 p.m. She could hear Alexander on a conference call in his office, his lawyer voice confident and commanding. Lisa plugged in the USB drive with trembling hands. There were 4 folders: photos, 186 files, documents, 23 files, audio notes, 7 files, and contact info. She opened documents first. The first file made her stomach drop. Brooks v. Brooks, custody plan.docs. Created date, September 3rd, 2024. Last modified, October 11th, 2024. Yesterday. Lisa opened it. Custody strategy, confidential objective. Secure primary physical custody of minor child Emma Brooks, DOB, April 12, 2018. Phase 1. Document maternal unfitness build case that Lisa Brooks is prioritizing career over child's well-being. Document all work travel, pharmaceutical conferences, client meetings, training sessions. Note: emphasize travel even though actual trips are minimal. Perception matters more than reality. Obtain statements from Emma's teachers regarding any behavioral issues, tardiness, homework incompletion. Note: Ms. Patterson mentioned Emma was tired one day in September. Request written statement framing this as pattern of maternal neglect. Lisa's vision blurred. Emma had been tired because she'd stayed up past bedtime watching a movie with Lisa. One night, Alexander was going to weaponize one tired morning into evidence of neglect. Phase 2. Establish emotional instability. Document any instances of emotional reactions, crying, raised voice. Obtain witness statements from colleagues/friends regarding concerning behavior. Consider suggesting therapeutic intervention that Lisa refuses. Demonstrates unwillingness to address issues. Lisa had cried twice in the past 6 months. Once when her grandmother died. Once during an argument with Alexander about his constant absence. He was going to call that emotional instability. Phase 3. Financial superiority. Demonstrate superior financial resources and stability. Highlight Lisa's unpredictable commission-based income versus Alexander's stable salary. Note: do not disclose offshore accounts or condo purchase until after custody determination. Lisa's hands shook so violently she could barely scroll. Phase 4. Parental alienation claims. Document any instances of Lisa speaking negatively about Alexander to Emma. Frame Lisa's questions about Alexander's travel as poisoning child against father. Witness list. Martin Chun, colleague, will testify to observing Lisa's emotional volatility at firm events. David Rothman, colleague, will testify to concerns about Lisa's work obsession. Jennifer Walsh, colleague, will testify to inappropriate boundaries with male clients. Lisa didn't have inappropriate boundaries with anyone. Jennifer Walsh had met her exactly twice at firm holiday parties. These people were going to lie under oath to help Alexander take her daughter. She opened the next document. Financial assets, separation plan.xlsx. Row after row of transfers. May 2023, $45,000 to Cayman International Bank, account hashtag 8847293 June 2023. $38,000 to Cayman International Bank July 2023. $42,000 to Cayman International Bank. The list continued. Month after month. The total at the bottom, $520,000. All money that should have been marital assets. All money Alexander had systematically stolen while Lisa balanced their checkbook and tried to save for Emma's college fund. Another document. Property purchase, Summit Ridge Condo.pdf. A luxury condo in Cherry Creek. 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 1,800 square feet. Purchase price, $840,000. Down payment, $340,000. Closing date, March 15, 2024. 7 months ago. Alexander had bought a love nest for his mistress 7 months ago using money from their joint investment account. Lisa had noticed the withdrawal. He'd told her it was for a partnership investment opportunity at the firm. She'd trusted him. The buyers listed Alexander J. Brooks and Amelia R. Ashford. He'd bought property with another woman, while married to Lisa, using marital funds. Lisa opened the next file, an email chain. The subject line, timeline and strategy. From Amelia Ashford to Alexander Brooks date, October 8, 2024 subject, timeline and strategy. Alex, spoke with Martin Rothman today, the custody attorney I recommended, $6.50/hour, but worth every penny. He reviewed your draft petition and evidence compilation. His assessment. Strong case for primary custody given your superior financial resources, stable work schedule, and documentation of Lisa's career prioritization over Emma's needs. Key recommendations. 1. File in January as planned, post-holidays looks better to judge, shows you tried through Christmas. 2. Request immediate temporary custody pending hearing. Rothman says judges often grant this to maintain status quo, and you'll establish new status quo in your favor. 3. Keep documentation vague enough to be defensible, but concerning enough to raise questions about Lisa's fitness. Once you have primary custody, Lisa will have no leverage. She'll be too broke to fight. Her legal fees alone will drain her savings within 3 months per Rothman's estimate. We can be together openly. The obstacle will be neutralized. Think of it this way. By Valentine's Day, we'll be celebrating at the condo with Emma, and Lisa will be fighting just to see her daughter on weekends. By summer, we can take Emma to the Tuscany villa. I love you. This will all be worth it. Hey. Lisa's breath came in short, sharp gasps. She read it again. And again. The obstacle will be neutralized. She was an obstacle. Her love for her daughter was an obstacle. Her 9-year marriage was an obstacle. Her entire existence was just something to be neutralized so Alexander and Amelia could play house with Lisa's child. She opened the photos folder. Picture after picture of Alexander and Amelia. Kissing. Holding hands. Laughing. Looking at each other the way people in love look at each other. One photo showed them at the condo. Lisa recognized the distinctive Cherry Creek views through floor-to-ceiling windows. They were standing in the kitchen, Amelia in Alexander's arms, both wearing wedding bands. Their wedding bands. To other people. Another photo showed documents spread across booth 9 at Il Giardino. Lisa zoomed in. She could read the header. Evidence of maternal unfitness, L. Brooks. The date stamp, October 4th, 2024. 8 days ago. Lisa closed the laptop and sat in the darkness of her office, listening to her husband's voice drone on in the next room about merger contracts and due diligence. The man she'd met at a charity gala 10 years ago. The man who'd proposed on a beach in Maui with tears in his eyes. The man she'd supported through law school debt and bar exam failures. The man she'd given a daughter to. The man she'd built a life with. That man no longer existed. Maybe he never had. In his place was a stranger willing to destroy her, willing to weaponize their child, willing to commit perjury and fraud and emotional abuse. Also, he could upgrade to a richer model. Lisa pulled out her phone. It was 11:43 p.m. She opened a new text to the number Stephanie had included on the USB drive. Mr. Chandler, my name is Lisa Brooks. Stephanie Harrison gave me your contact information. I need a family law attorney who specializes in high-conflict custody cases and hidden assets. I have documented evidence of asset concealment totaling $520,000 plus, custody manipulation planning, and fraud. My husband is planning to file for divorce and sole custody within 2 weeks. I need to file first. Can you meet tomorrow morning? I'll make myself available anytime. This is about protecting my 6-year-old daughter. Lisa Brooks. She hit send before she could second-guess herself. The response came 90 seconds later. Ms. Brooks, Stephanie Harrison's referrals get immediate attention. Any friend of hers is someone I'll help. 6:30 a.m. tomorrow at my office. Chandler and Associates, 1560 Broadway, Suite 2800. Bring everything Stephanie gave you and any financial documents you have access to. Don't tell your husband. Don't change your behavior. Act normal. We'll talk strategy in the morning. Marvin Chandler. Lisa stared at the text. 6:30 a.m. was in less than 7 hours. She checked on Emma one more time. Her daughter slept peacefully, unaware that her entire world was about to change. Unaware that her mother was about to go to war to protect her. Lisa stood in Emma's doorway and made a silent promise. You will never doubt that I fought for you. You will never spend a single day thinking I didn't want you. You will never be used as a weapon. I don't care what it costs me. I don't care what I have to do. You are mine, and I am yours, and nothing. Not your father, not his money, not his mistress, not his lawyers. Nothing will take you from me. Then Lisa Brooks went to bed next to her husband, lay in the darkness listening to him breathe, and waited for morning. The wife who'd gone to Il Giardino tonight to save her marriage was gone. In her place was a mother preparing for war. And God help anyone who stood between her and her child. Lisa's alarm went off at 5:45 a.m. She'd slept maybe 90 minutes total, lying rigid beside Alexander while her mind raced through worst-case scenarios. But when the alarm sounded, she felt oddly clear-headed. Focused. Alexander was still asleep, sprawled across his side of the bed in the expensive silk pajamas Amelia had probably bought him. Lisa slipped out quietly, got dressed in her most professional outfit, a charcoal gray pantsuit that meant business, and was out the door by 6:15. The drive downtown took 20 minutes in pre-dawn traffic. Chandler and Associates occupied the 28th floor of a gleaming high-rise on Broadway with views of the mountains. Lisa arrived at 6:28 a.m., clutching her laptop bag with the USB drive and every financial document she'd been able to print without Alexander noticing. The reception area was empty this early, but lights were on in a corner office. A man appeared in the doorway, late 40s black, with close-cropped graying hair and sharp, assessing eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. He wore a crisp white shirt with the sleeves rolled up like he'd been working for hours already. Ms. Brooks. His voice was deep, authoritative. Marvin Chandler. Come in. His office was meticulously organized, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves lined with legal volumes, a massive desk with 3 monitors, and a wall of framed certifications and awards. One plaque caught Lisa's eye. Colorado Family Law Attorney of the Year, 2022. Coffee. Marvin offered, gesturing to an espresso machine. Please. Lisa's hands were shaking. He made 2 cups with efficient movements, handed her one, and settled into the chair across from her, not behind his desk, she noticed. Creating equality, not hierarchy. Stephanie Harrison is one of the bravest people I know, Marvin began. What she did for her mother, what her mother did to get her children back. That case taught me that family law isn't about legal theory. It's about protecting children from parents who weaponize them. So when Stephanie sends someone to me, I pay attention. He pulled out a yellow legal pad. Tell me everything. Lisa walked him through the past 12 hours. The restaurant. The napkin. The bathroom confrontation. The USB drive. The documents she'd read until 2 a.m., each one more devastating than the last. Marvin listened without interrupting, taking notes in precise handwriting. When she finished, he was quiet for a long moment. May I see what Stephanie gave you? Lisa handed over the USB drive. Marvin plugged it into his computer and spent 15 minutes reviewing files, his expression growing harder with each document. "Your husband is sophisticated," he finally said. "This custody strategy document is professionally crafted. He's clearly been working with Martin Rothman, who's one of the most aggressive custody attorneys in Colorado. The financial concealment is methodical. The witness coordination is calculated." He looked at Lisa, but he made a critical mistake. "What mistake?" Lisa's voice was barely a whisper. "He documented everything." Marvin tapped the screen. "Lawyers are trained to create paper trails that protect us. Your husband built a paper trail that destroys him. This custody plan document? It's evidence of premeditated parental alienation. These fake allegations? Evidence of fraud upon the court. This email from Amelia Ashford calling you the obstacle and discussing how you'll be too broke to fight? Evidence of conspiracy and malicious intent." He leaned back. "Alexander Brooks planned to ambush you. Instead, he handed you a loaded weapon." Hope flickered in Lisa's chest for the first time in 12 hours. "Can we use this?" "Use it. Ms. Brooks, this evidence is prosecutorial gold." Marvin's voice was fierce now. "Colorado custody law operates under a best interests of the child standard. Courts consider multiple factors, but there are two things that will absolutely destroy a parent's case: parental alienation and making false allegations. Your husband is planning to do both." He pulled up a document on one of his monitors. Colorado Revised Statute 14-10-124 gives courts the authority to sanction parties who make allegations they know are false. Your husband's own document admits these allegations are fabricated. "Perception matters more than reality," he wrote. "A judge will eviscerate him for that." "But he's an attorney," Lisa said. "He knows the system. He has connections. He can afford Martin Rothman at $650 an hour. You're a pharmaceutical executive earning $195,000 a year with documented evidence that your husband is committing fraud, planning perjury, and attempting to manipulate the courts," Marvin interrupted. "And now you have me. Former prosecutor. 15 years of family law. I've destroyed bigger predators than Alexander Brooks." His eyes were steel. "He thought he was hunting you. He has no idea he's now the prey." Lisa felt tears prick her eyes. "What do? We strike first. Hard. Fast. Before he knows what hit him." Marvin pulled out a calendar. "Today is Tuesday. You said he's leaving for Chicago Thursday morning. That's what he told Amelia on the phone last night. A 9 a.m. flight. Back Sunday. Perfect." Marvin made notes. "While he's gone, we're going to do 3 things. First, I'm filing emergency motions Friday afternoon. Motion for temporary custody orders. Motion to freeze all assets pending forensic accounting, and motion for temporary exclusive use of the marital home. Second, we're going to conduct our own forensic investigation of his finances. And third, we're going to prepare for the emergency hearing that will happen Monday morning." "Emergency hearing?" Lisa's heart raced. "When I file these motions with this level of evidence, Judge Patricia Morrison will be assigned this case because she handles all high-conflict custody matters. Will grant an emergency hearing immediately. Your husband will come back from his romantic weekend to discover his accounts are frozen. He's facing a custody hearing in 48 hours, and his entire scheme is exposed." A knock on the door interrupted them. A woman entered, early 40s Korean American, with sharp features and an all-business demeanor. She wore black jeans and a leather jacket over a white blouse. "Lisa Brooks, meet Rachel Kim," Marvin said. "The best forensic investigator in Colorado." Rachel extended her hand. Her grip was firm, confident. "Former FBI Financial Crimes Unit. Now I find money that people think they've hidden. Your husband hid $520,000 in offshore accounts." "At least that much," Lisa said. "According to the documents." Rachel smiled, and it wasn't friendly. "Then there's more. There's always more. People who hide money once hide it multiple times. They get confident. Sloppy." She sat down, pulling out a tablet. "I charge $350 an hour, but for cases like this, proven fraud with documentary evidence, I work on contingency. If I find hidden assets, I take 35% of whatever we recover beyond the standard marital split. You don't pay me unless I find money. And you will find money, Marvin added. Rachel found $1.2 million in a case last year where the spouse only suspected $200,000 was hidden. Your husband is an attorney at Morrison and Klein, Rachel said, already typing. Salary approximately $215,000 base plus bonus structure. Senior associate track, probably targeting partnership. That means his compensation over the past 3 years has been substantial. She looked up. I'm going to need access to your marital home while he's in Chicago. Specifically, his home office. Lisa hesitated. Is that legal? It's your marital home, Marvin said. Your marital property. Colorado is a one-party consent state for recording. Everything in that house is fair game for discovery. Rachel will image his computer, photograph documents, and trace every financial move he's made. All completely legal. I'll bring a tech specialist, Rachel said. We'll be in and out in 6 hours. He'll never know we were there. But we'll have every email, every file, every deleted document recovered. If he's planning to take your daughter and your money, he's documented it somewhere. I'll find it. Lisa's head was spinning. This is all happening so fast. Because we have to move fast, Marvin said gently but firmly. Your husband is planning to file within 2 weeks. Probably right after his Chicago trip. We need to file first. In custody cases, whoever files first has a strategic advantage. They set the narrative, they get the emergency hearing, they put the other party on defense. He met her eyes. Your husband thought he'd ambush you in January. We're going to ambush him this Friday. What do I do? Lisa asked. How do I act around him? Normal, Marvin said. Be the wife he expects. Make him breakfast. Kiss him goodbye when he leaves for Chicago. Talk about Emma's school play. Give him absolutely no indication that anything has changed. Can you do that? Lisa thought about Emma asleep in her sunflower pajamas. About the custody plan that called her mother unfit. About Amelia's email calling her the obstacle. Yes, she said. I can do that. Good. Marvin pulled out a contract. This is a contingency fee agreement for asset recovery. 35% of found hidden assets, as Rachel explained. For the custody work and divorce proceedings, my rate is $450 an hour, but I'll defer payment until we recover assets. Given the documented fraud here, I'm confident we'll recover enough to cover all fees plus leave you substantially better off financially. Lisa signed without hesitation. Now logistics, Marvin continued. Where's Emma today? With me. She doesn't have school until 8:30. After this meeting, take her to your mother's house or a trusted friend's. You need to prepare emotionally for what's coming. You need rest. You need to be able to function as Emma's mother while we handle the legal warfare. He paused. Does your mother know what's happening? Not yet. Tell her. Today. You'll need support. You'll need someone who can take Emma when you have legal meetings, court dates, or when you just need to break down without your daughter seeing. His voice softened slightly. Lisa, I'm not going to lie to you. The next few weeks will be brutal. Your husband will be vicious when he realizes what's happening. But you have 3 advantages: evidence, surprise, and rage. Rage. Righteous maternal rage, Marvin clarified. The most powerful force in family law. I've seen it win cases that looked impossible. Your husband is calculating and cold. You're a mother protecting her child. Judges see the difference. Rachel stood. I'll start preliminary asset tracing today. Public records, property databases, corporate filings. Thursday morning, the moment his plane takes off, I'll be at your house. Friday at 2 p.m., Marvin files the motions. Friday at 5 p.m., the accounts freeze. Saturday morning, your husband gets served. Monday morning, we destroy him in court. The timeline was laid out like a military operation. And that's exactly what it was, Lisa realized. A tactical strike against an enemy who thought he'd already won. One more thing, Marvin said as Lisa prepared to leave. Your husband's affair with Amelia Ashford violates Morrison and Klein's ethics policy on supervisor-subordinate relationships. When the firm discovers this, and they will, there will be professional consequences. Possibly termination. His career, his reputation, his partnership track, all at risk. That's additional leverage. Lisa nodded, absorbing it all. You're not alone anymore, Lisa, Marvin said, walking her to the door. You have a team now, and we're going to protect your daughter. At 7:45 a.m., Lisa dropped Emma at her mother's house with a brief explanation that made her mother cry and hug her fiercely. "We're going to fight, Mama," Lisa said. "And we're going to win." By 8:15 a.m., Lisa was back home. Alexander was in the kitchen making coffee, already dressed in his suit. "Where were you?" he asked, not looking up from his phone. "Early workout," Lisa lied smoothly. "Couldn't sleep." "Where do you want to go for dinner tonight?" Alexander glanced at her, suspicious. "Since when do you work out at 6 a.m.? Trying something new." Lisa smiled, the performance beginning. "Want scrambled eggs?" His suspicion faded. "Sure. I've got a meeting at 9. Lisa made breakfast while Alexander scrolled through emails. She packed his lunch. She asked about his day. She was the perfect wife. And inside, she was counting down the hours until Thursday morning. When Alexander's plane took off for Chicago, for his romantic weekend with Amelia, for his celebration of Lisa's impending destruction, Rachel Kim would be in his office downloading every file, every secret, every piece of evidence that would bury him. And Friday afternoon, while Alexander and Amelia toasted their future at some expensive restaurant, Marvin Chandler would walk into Denver family court and detonate Alexander Brooks's entire life. The hunter was about to become the hunted. And he had no idea it was already too late. Thursday morning, Lisa woke at 6 a.m. to the sound of Alexander's alarm. She lay still, listening to him shower, watching him pack his carry-on with the careful precision of someone who'd done this many times before. Expensive cologne, designer suits, the Tumi toiletry bag she'd given him for Christmas 3 years ago, now being used to prepare for a romantic weekend with another woman. "I'll be back Sunday evening," Alexander said, not kissing her goodbye. "Don't wait up. The flight lands at 9:47. "Have a safe trip," Lisa said, her voice steady. "Good luck with the depositions." He paused at the door, and for a moment she thought he might say something real, something human. Instead, he just nodded and left. Lisa waited until she heard his Audi pull out of the driveway. Then she called Rachel Kim. "He just left," Lisa said. "I know. I've been watching your house since 5:30 a.m. Rachel's voice was crisp, professional. "He's heading east on Alameda, presumably toward the airport. I've got a contact at United. I'll confirm which flight he's actually on within the hour." Lisa got Emma ready for school, made her daughter's favorite breakfast, chocolate chip pancakes, and tried to act like her world wasn't falling apart. Emma chattered about her sunflower costume, about how Ms. Patterson said she had the loudest voice in the whole kindergarten class. "Daddy's going to miss it," Emma said sadly as Lisa braided her hair. "He's always gone." "I know, baby," Lisa said, her heart breaking. "But Mommy will be there. And Grandma. And we'll take so many pictures that Daddy can see everything. If he's allowed unsupervised visitation after what I'm about to do to him." Lisa thought, but didn't say. After dropping Emma at school, Lisa returned home to find Rachel's silver Tesla already in the driveway. Rachel emerged with a younger man, mid-20s, Asian, with spiky hair and multiple laptop bags. "Lisa, this is Derek Chong," Rachel said. "Best forensic tech specialist in the state. Former NSA contractor. Now he helps people like me find digital evidence that others think they've deleted." Derek gave a small wave. "Hi. Sorry about your situation. Let's go ruin your husband's day." They spent 3 minutes discussing logistics. Then Lisa unlocked Alexander's home office, the room he'd started locking 6 months ago, claiming he had sensitive client files, and stepped aside. Rachel pulled on latex gloves. "Everything we touch, everything we photograph, everything we copy, it's all admissible because this is marital property and you've given consent. Derek's going to image the hard drive, which means we get an exact copy of every file, every email, every deleted document. That process takes about 4 hours. While he does that, I'll photograph every physical document in this office." "What am I looking for?" Derek asked, already connecting cables to Alexander's computer. "Financial records, communications with Amelia Ashford, anything related to custody planning, anything that shows asset concealment," Rachel rattled off. "Also recover deleted files from the past 3 years. Lawyers think they're smart about deleting evidence. They're not." Lisa left them to work. She couldn't watch. Couldn't be in that room where Alexander had planned her destruction while she'd been downstairs reading bedtime stories to their daughter. At 10:47 a.m., Rachel called her back to the office. "Your husband is not in Chicago," Rachel said, holding up her phone. "United confirms Alexander Brooks and Amelia Ashford are on Flight 1847 to San Francisco, connecting to a chartered flight to Napa Valley. They're staying at the Meadowood Resort, $1,200 per night. I've got a colleague doing surveillance. We'll have photos by tonight." The lie was so casual, so complete. Lisa had kissed him goodbye, wished him luck with depositions that didn't exist, while he flew off to wine country with his mistress. "I've been through his filing cabinets," Rachel continued, gesturing to the open drawers. "Your husband is meticulous, obsessively organized, which means he documented everything." She pulled out a folder labeled Asset Protection Private. Inside were bank statements for accounts Lisa had never seen. Cayman International Bank. Account number 884-7293. Current balance, $537,000. "That's more than the $520,000 from the USB drive," Lisa said. "He's been adding to it. Look at the deposit dates." Rachel pointed. Monthly deposits ranging from $15,000 to $45,000 going back 22 months. June 2022 through present. June 2022. 2 years ago. Before Emma started kindergarten. Before Lisa had any idea her marriage was ending. Rachel pulled out another folder. Property Investment, Summit Ridge. Complete documentation of the Cherry Creek condo purchase. But there were additional papers Lisa hadn't seen. Inspection reports, HOA documents, utility bills. All in both Alexander's and Amelia's names. "They've been living there," Rachel said quietly. "Look at the utility bills. Water usage, electricity, gas. These aren't the bills of an empty investment property. They're using an average of 2,000 kilowatt hours per month. That's a lived-in residence." Lisa felt sick. "While I'm at home with Emma, he's been playing house with her? For at least 7 months, based on the utility start date." Rachel's voice was gentle but factual. "The mortgage payments, $4,800 per month, are coming from an account titled AB Consulting LLC. I looked it up. It's a shell company your husband created. He's been funneling money through it to make the payments look like business expenses." "Is that illegal? Using marital funds to purchase property with a mistress? Definitely grounds for fraud claims. Creating a shell company to hide the money trail? Even better for our case." Rachel made notes. "This property alone, with the $340,000 down payment from your joint investment account, is going to get him crucified in court." Derek spoke up from the computer. "I've got something." His email is a goldmine. He has a folder titled a Personal with over 2,000 messages between him and Amelia Ashford going back to March 2022. That's almost 3 years. 3 years. Lisa had been pregnant with Emma when this started? No, Emma was 6 now, born in April 2018. 3 years ago would be 2021. "Wait," Derek said, scrolling. "Correction. The messages start earlier. There are archived folders going back to 2020. Holy shit, this affair has been happening for almost 5 years. 5 years. More than half of their marriage. Print everything," Rachel ordered. "Every email. Every attachment. Everything." While the printer whirred, Rachel opened another file cabinet drawer. Financial planning documents. "Look at this. Post-divorce asset distribution.xlsx. She pulled it up on her phone, photographing each page. The spreadsheet laid out Alexander's projected finances after the divorce. Marital home. Assumed Alexander retains $620,000 current value marital accounts. Assumed 50/50th split $127,000. Lisa gets $63,500. Alexander's separate property accounts. $537,000, all his, Summit Ridge condo. $840,000. Transferred to Amelia's name pre-divorce, Alexander's 401k. $180,000, claims premarital contribution, Lisa gets nothing. Total projected assets for Alexander. $1.35 million total projected assets for Lisa. $63,500. He was planning to leave you with basically nothing, Rachel said. And look at this note at the bottom. Child support calculation. Based on Lisa's income of $195,000 and Alexander's reported income of $215,000, estimated payment $2,400 per month. However, with primary custody and demonstration of Lisa's career instability, may be able to reduce or eliminate. Career instability. Lisa had been at the same pharmaceutical company for 8 years, consistently exceeding quota. Derek called out, "I found his journal. It's password protected, but the password was Amelia 2024. Subtle. He projected it onto Alexander's large monitor. A Word document titled Private Thoughts.docs. The entries were dated sporadic, raw. August 15th, 2023. Amelia and I looked at the condo today. She wants the master bedroom painted dove gray. I said whatever makes her happy. This will be our home, mine and hers and Emma's. Lisa won't fit in this life. She's become background noise in her own marriage. I feel nothing when I look at her anymore. Just obligation and resentment. Amelia makes me feel alive." October 3rd, 2023. Met with Martin Rothman today. The custody strategy is solid. Lisa's travel for work, minimal as it is, gives us an opening. Her emotionality gives us another. I just need to document everything, build the narrative, and strike fast. By spring, this will all be over. Amelia and I will have Emma, the condo, and our life together. Lisa will have her pharmaceutical samples and her sadness. January 8th, 2024. Watching Lisa try so hard is almost pathetic. She made my favorite dinner tonight, asked about my day, laughed at my jokes. She has no idea I'm counting down the days until I file. Sometimes I feel guilty. Then I remember how she's held me back. The modest house, the budget vacations, the life of a middle-class teacher married to someone ordinary. Amelia offers something better. Something I deserve. Lisa's hands shook as she read. The contempt wasn't hidden. It was explicit. Calculated. He'd been watching her try to save their marriage, while internally mocking her for it. "There's more," Derek said grimly, scrolling. "A lot more. Want me to print it all?" "Yes," Rachel said. "Every word. This journal is evidence of premeditation and malicious intent. It shows his emotional abuse was deliberate, not circumstantial." Rachel's phone buzzed. She checked it and smiled coldly. Photos from Napa just came in. She held up the screen. Alexander and Amelia at a vineyard, wine glasses raised in a toast. Both laughing. Amelia's left hand clearly visible, no wedding ring. Alexander's arm around her waist, possessive and comfortable. The next photo showed them kissing outside a restaurant. The photo after that showed them entering their resort suite, Alexander carrying Amelia over the threshold like newlyweds. "My colleague says they've been openly affectionate all day," Rachel said. "Acting like a couple celebrating an anniversary. They had lunch at the restaurant at Meadowood, 3 Michelin star, $450 per person. Charged to his credit card. The personal one linked to your joint account. He's spending marital funds on this trip," Lisa said flatly. "Every penny is documented. Every romantic dinner, every bottle of wine, every couple's massage, it's all going in our evidence file." Derek started disconnecting cables from the computer. "I've got everything. Every email. Every deleted file recovered. Every browser history. Every password stored in his system, including the password to that Cayman account." He looked at Lisa. "Your husband thought he was being careful. He wasn't. He documented everything because he never thought you'd look. That arrogance is going to destroy him." Rachel pulled out her phone. "I'm texting Marvin now. We have enough evidence to file the motions tomorrow afternoon. Actually, we have enough evidence to bury your husband in criminal fraud charges if we wanted to pursue that route." "I don't want criminal charges," Lisa said. "I want my daughter safe. I want him to never be able to use her as a weapon again." "Then that's what we'll do," Rachel said. "But Lisa, you need to understand, what we found today is devastating. The journal alone proves emotional abuse and premeditation. The financial records prove systematic fraud. The emails prove conspiracy with Amelia. When Judge Morrison sees this, your husband is going to lose more than custody. He's going to lose his reputation, his career, and most of his money." "Good," Lisa said, surprised by the coldness in her own voice. Rachel packed up her equipment. Tomorrow, Marvin files the motions at 2 p.m. By 5 p.m., every account your husband controls will be frozen. Saturday morning, he'll be served with emergency papers. Monday morning, we go to court. And by Monday afternoon, Alexander Brooks will understand what it feels like to have your life destroyed by someone you underestimated. After they left, Lisa sat alone in Alexander's office, surrounded by the evidence of his betrayal. 5 years of lies. 22 months of financial fraud. A journal full of contempt. A secret life with another woman, funded by money that should have secured Emma's future. Her phone buzzed. A text from Alexander, flight delayed. Probably won't land until midnight. Don't wait up. He was lying even about the lies. He wasn't on a delayed flight. He was in Napa Valley, drinking $300 bottles of wine with Amelia, celebrating the destruction of his family. Lisa looked at the text for a long moment. Then she typed back, no problem. Hope the depositions go well. Love you. One more day of pretending. One more day of being the wife he thought was too stupid to see the truth. Then tomorrow, Marvin Chandler would walk into court with 500 pages of evidence, and Alexander Brooks's carefully constructed world would detonate. Lisa picked up Emma from school that afternoon. Her daughter ran to her with a construction paper sunflower, petals bright yellow and cheerful. For you, Mommy, Emma said. Because you're my sunshine. Lisa held her daughter tight, breathing in the smell of kid shampoo and playground dirt and pure innocence. You're my sunshine too, baby, Lisa whispered. And nobody is ever going to take you away from me. I promise. That night, Lisa lay in bed alone and thought about Alexander in Napa Valley, celebrating his clever scheme. He had no idea that in less than 24 hours, his entire life would collapse. And honestly, Lisa couldn't wait to watch it happen. Friday morning, Lisa dropped Emma at school and drove straight to Marvin Chandler's office. She arrived at 9:15 a.m. to find Marvin, Rachel, and a paralegal named Jennifer surrounded by documents spread across a massive conference table. We've been here since 6 a.m., Marvin said, gesturing to 3 massive binders. Assembling the evidence package. Come look. The first binder was labeled Financial Fraud, Documentary Evidence. It contained Rachel's findings. Bank statements showing the $537,000 in hidden offshore accounts, the Summit Ridge condo purchase documents, the Shell Company formation papers, the Asset Protection Strategy spreadsheet, and a detailed timeline of every fraudulent transfer over 22 months. The second binder, Custody Manipulation, Premeditated Parental Alienation. Alexander's custody strategy document, the draft petition with false allegations, his journal entries expressing contempt for Lisa, witness coordination plans, and Amelia's emails discussing how to neutralize Lisa. The third binder, photographic and testimonial evidence. Stephanie's 186 photos from Il Giardino, Rachel's surveillance photos from Napa Valley, utility bills proving the condo was lived in, and sworn declarations from Stephanie Harrison and Rachel Kim. 87 pages total, Jennifer said. Every document cross-referenced, every photo time-stamped, every legal citation verified. This is the most comprehensive emergency motion package I've ever seen. Marvin handed Lisa a document titled, Emergency Motion for Temporary Orders and Expedited Hearing. She skimmed the first page. Comes now Lisa Brooks, by and through her attorney Marvin Chandler, and respectfully requests this court enter emergency temporary orders pursuant to CRS Section 14-10-108, based on documented evidence that Respondent Alexander Brooks has engaged in systematic financial fraud, planned parental alienation, and is preparing to file false allegations designed to strip petitioner of custody of the party's minor child. I'm requesting 3 things, Marvin explained. First, temporary custody orders giving you primary physical custody with supervised visitation for Alexander pending full hearing. Second, immediate freeze of all marital assets pending forensic accounting. Third, temporary exclusive use of the marital home to maintain stability for Emma. Will the judge grant all that? Lisa asked. Judge Patricia Morrison will be assigned to this case. She handles all high-conflict custody matters in Denver Family Court. 15 years on the bench. Former prosecutor. known for absolutely destroying parents who try to manipulate the system or weaponize children. Marvin's voice was confident. When she sees this evidence, especially Alexander's own documents admitting the allegations are fabricated, she'll grant everything we're asking. Possibly more. Rachel checked her watch. It's 9:47 a.m. Alexander's flight from San Francisco to Denver lands at 9:23 p.m. Sunday. That gives us 60 hours before he's back on Colorado soil. We file at 2 p.m. today, Marvin said. Friday afternoon filings get reviewed Monday morning, but with an emergency motion this substantial, Judge Morrison's clerk will call her at home. I'm expecting we'll have a ruling by end of business today. Lisa's phone buzzed. A text from Alexander. Napa is beautiful. Wish you could see it. Followed by a photo of a vineyard at sunset. The audacity made her breathless. She showed Marvin. He smiled coldly. Screenshot that. Send it to me. It's more evidence, him texting you romantic photos from a trip with his mistress, gaslighting you about his location. At 1:45 p.m., Marvin, Jennifer, and Lisa walked 3 blocks to the Denver District Court building. The Family Law Division was on the 4th floor, past security, through corridors lined with families in various states of crisis. At exactly 2 p.m., Jennifer filed the motion package with the clerk. The clerk's eyes widened as she flipped through the pages. This is an emergency motion? She asked. Yes, Marvin said. Documented parental alienation planning and financial fraud. We're requesting an emergency hearing on Monday morning. Judge Morrison will want to see this immediately, the clerk said, already reaching for her phone. Give me 20 minutes. They waited in the hallway. Lisa watched families come and go, tired mothers with children, fathers in business suits, lawyers with overstuffed briefcases, all fighting their own wars. At 2:47 p.m., the clerk emerged. Judge Morrison reviewed the motion. She's granting an emergency hearing for Monday, November 18th at 9 a.m. She's also issuing temporary orders effective immediately. Marvin's expression didn't change, but Lisa saw the satisfaction in his eyes. What orders? Freeze on all marital assets pending forensic accounting. Temporary restraining order preventing either party from relocating with the minor child outside Colorado. And, the clerk paused. Judge Morrison wants to see respondent's attorney Martin Rothman in chambers at 8:30 Monday morning. Before the hearing, Rachel, standing behind them, whispered, She's going to sanction Rothman for participating in the custody manipulation scheme. That's a pre-hearing warning shot. By 3:15 p.m., they were back at Marvin's office. Jennifer was on the phone with Banks, reading account numbers from Alexander's financial records. Yes, this is regarding a domestic relations case, Brooks versus Brooks, case number 2024-DR003847. I have a court order to freeze the following accounts effective immediately. One by one, the accounts locked. 3:47 p.m., joint Chase checking account. Frozen. 4:03 p.m., joint Charles Schwab investment account, frozen. 4:18 p.m., Alexander's Bank of America personal account. Frozen. 4:34 p.m., Cayman International Bank account number 8847293. Freeze request submitted. Requires 24 to 48 hours for international compliance. He's going to try to access money this weekend, Rachel predicted. At a restaurant, paying for wine tastings, whatever. His cards will decline. That's when he'll know something's wrong. At 4:52 p.m., Marvin's phone rang. He listened, his expression neutral, then said, Yes, I represent Lisa Brooks in a domestic relations matter involving Mr. Brooks. The emergency hearing is Monday at 9 a.m. I suggest your firm review its ethics policies regarding supervisor-subordinate relationships. Thank you. He hung up. That was Morrison and Klein's general counsel. Firm policy requires they be notified of any legal action involving partners or senior associates. They now know Alexander is being sued for custody manipulation and financial fraud, and they know his affair with senior partner Amelia Ashford is documented in court filings. What happens now? Lisa asked. The general counsel will inform the senior partners. They'll review the firm's ethics policy, which absolutely prohibits romantic relationships between supervisors and subordinates. They'll call Alexander to come home immediately. Marvin checked his watch. I'd estimate he gets that call within the next hour. At 5:43 p.m., Lisa's phone rang. Alexander. Marvin put a finger to his lips and activated the speakerphone recording app. Colorado is one-party consent, he mouthed. Record everything. Lisa answered. Hello, Lisa. Alexander's voice was tight, stressed. I need to come home early. There's been something with work. I'm catching a flight tomorrow morning. Tomorrow? But I thought you'd be in depositions through Sunday. Plans changed. He sounded distracted, anxious. Don't worry about it. I'll text you when I land. Is everything okay? Lisa made her voice concerned, wifely. It's fine. Just work stuff. I have to go. I need to change my flight. He hung up without saying goodbye. Marvin smiled. He doesn't know what hit him yet. He knows something's wrong, but he doesn't know what. The firm wouldn't tell him details over the phone. Just emergency, come home immediately. He's panicking. Rachel pulled up flight tracking. There's a United flight tomorrow, Saturday morning, at 6:55 a.m. San Francisco to Denver. Lands at 10:18 a.m. That's probably what he'll take. Which means he'll be home by noon tomorrow, Marvin calculated. And he still won't be able to access his accounts. By 2 p.m. Saturday, he'll be desperate. That's when I expect the angry phone calls to start. To me. Lisa felt her stomach clench. To me, Marvin corrected. He'll figure out you have an attorney. He'll call demanding answers. I won't give him any. Just tell him to review the court filings and see him Monday morning. He met Lisa's eyes. This is going to get ugly this weekend. Do you have somewhere safe to take Emma? Somewhere Alexander won't show up and cause a scene. My mother's house, Lisa said. He doesn't have a good relationship with her. He never goes there. Perfect. Go there tonight. Stay through Sunday. Let him come home to an empty house. Let him panic. Let him make mistakes. Marvin's voice was strategic, cold. Desperate people do stupid things. And we want him stupid on Monday morning. Saturday morning, Lisa woke at her mother's house to Emma crawling into bed beside her. Why are we at Grandma's, Mommy? Because I wanted Grandma to make us her special pancakes, Lisa lied, kissing her daughter's forehead. Want to go to the zoo today? Emma's face lit up. Really? On a Saturday? Really? Just you and me and Grandma. We'll see the elephants and get ice cream and have the best day ever. While Emma ran to tell her grandmother, Lisa checked her phone. 3 missed calls from Alexander. 2 voicemails. 5 texts. Where are you? Why aren't you home? My accounts aren't working. Do you know anything about this? Call me now. I swear to God, Lisa, if you did something. She didn't respond. Marvin had been explicit. No contact. Let him spiral. At 11:34 a.m., her phone rang again. Not Alexander, an unknown number. Lisa Brooks. A woman's voice, cold and professional. Yes, this is Amelia Ashford. I think we need to talk. Lisa's blood went cold. She walked into her mother's bathroom and closed the door. I don't think we have anything to discuss, Ms. Ashford. Your husband is destroying his career because of whatever game you're playing, Amelia snapped. Whatever you think you know. I know everything, Lisa interrupted, her voice steady. I know about the affair that started in 2020. I know about the Summit Ridge condo you live in that was purchased with marital funds. I know about the $537,000 in hidden offshore accounts. I know about the custody manipulation plan. I know about the fake allegations. I have photos. I have emails. I have your texts. I have everything. Silence on the other end. And on Monday morning, Lisa continued, Judge Patricia Morrison is going to see all of it. Every document. Every email where you called me the obstacle. Every text where you helped Alexander plan to take my daughter from me. Your affair violates Morrison and Klein's ethics policy. Your participation in custody fraud could get you sanctioned by the Colorado bar. You thought you were so clever. You weren't. You bitch, Amelia started. No, Lisa said, her voice ice. I'm a mother protecting her child. And you made the mistake of trying to help someone take her from me. You're going to regret that for the rest of your career. Don't call me again. She hung up, hands shaking but voice steady. At the Denver Zoo, Lisa pushed Emma on the carousel while her phone buzzed incessantly. Alexander. His attorney. Unknown numbers. She ignored them all. Emma laughed, reaching for the brass ring, her sunflower costume from school stuffed carefully in Lisa's bag for the play next Friday. Mommy, are you happy? Emma asked suddenly, her dark eyes serious. Yes, baby, Lisa said, surprising herself with the truth. I really am. Because for the first time in years, she wasn't walking on eggshells. Wasn't making excuses. Wasn't diminishing herself. She was fighting. And she was winning. Monday morning, Alexander Brooks would walk into Denver family court expecting to control the narrative. Instead, he'd face the consequences of underestimating the woman he'd called pathetic in his journal. And Lisa couldn't wait to see his face when he realized just how badly he'd miscalculated. Lisa returned home Saturday evening at 6:32 p.m., after Emma was safely settled at her grandmother's house with promises of movie night and popcorn. She'd left her daughter laughing at a Disney film, blissfully unaware that her parents' marriage was about to detonate. The house was dark when Lisa pulled into the driveway. Alexander's Audi wasn't there yet. Good. She needed a few minutes to prepare herself. She walked through rooms that suddenly felt like a museum of a dead marriage. The kitchen where she'd made countless dinners he barely touched. The living room where they'd once watched movies together before he started working late. Every Wednesday and Friday. Emma's playroom with finger paintings on the walls and toys scattered like evidence of childhood joy. This was her home. Hers and Emma's. And she wasn't giving it up. At 6:47 p.m., headlights swept across the front windows. A car door slammed. Footsteps on the walkway, fast, aggressive. The front door burst open. Alexander stood in the entryway, still wearing his Napa casual clothes, expensive jeans, a cashmere sweater, designer sunglasses pushed up on his head. His face was flushed, his jaw tight. He looked like a man whose world had tilted off its axis. Lisa. His voice was controlled but vibrating with barely contained rage. What the hell did you do? Lisa stood in the living room, arms crossed, voice steady. I protected our daughter. Protected her? Alexander laughed, but there was no humor in it. My accounts are frozen. All of them. My credit cards declined at dinner last night. Do you have any idea how humiliating that was? I had to have Amelia pay. Then this morning I get a call from Morrison and Klein's general counsel, saying there's an emergency custody hearing Monday morning, and I need to review court filings immediately. He stalked toward her. So I'm going to ask you one more time. What the hell did you do? I know everything, Alexander. The words hung in the air between them. His face changed. Just slightly. A flicker of something. Fear, maybe, before the lawyer mask slid back into place. You know what exactly? I know about Amelia, Lisa said, her voice calm, almost conversational. I know you've been having an affair with her since 2020. I know about the Wednesday and Friday dinners at Il Giardino for the past 20 months. I know about the Summit Ridge condo you bought with her using $340,000 from our joint investment account. I know you've been living there with her for 7 months. Alexander's face had gone pale. I know about the $537,000 you hid in offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands, Lisa continued, each word a surgical strike. I know about the asset protection strategy spreadsheet where you documented every fraudulent transfer going back 22 months. I know about the shell company you created to hide the condo payments. Lisa, he started, but she kept going. I know about your custody plan. The one titled Brooks vs. Brooks, custodyplan.docs. The one where you detailed your strategy to fabricate allegations against me. Calling my work travel excessive when I've traveled twice this year. Creating a narrative of emotional instability. Coordinating false witness statements from your colleagues who barely know me. His hands had clenched into fists at his sides. I know about your journal, Lisa said, her voice dropping lower, colder. The one where you called me pathetic. Where you wrote that watching me try to save our marriage was almost pathetic. Where you counted down the days until you could file for divorce. Where you said I was background noise in my own marriage. How did you? Alexander's lawyer composure was cracking. And I know you weren't in Chicago this weekend, Lisa finished. You were in Napa Valley, at the Meadowood Resort, with Amelia, celebrating your brilliant scheme to take my daughter and leave me financially destroyed, charging $450 dinners to our joint credit card. I have photos of you kissing her at the vineyard. I have photos of you carrying her into your hotel suite. Alexander stood frozen, his face cycling through emotions, Shock, panic, calculation, and finally settling on rage. "You had no right," he said, his voice dropping to the threatening tone he used in court. "Those are private documents. Private accounts. You had no right to access my office, my computer. Our marital home. Our marital property. Colorado is a one-party consent state. I had every right." Lisa's voice was steel. "And now Judge Patricia Morrison has 87 pages of evidence documenting your fraud, your affair, your custody manipulation scheme, and your plan to weaponize our daughter against me." "You don't know what you've done," Alexander said, stepping closer, looming. "You have no idea what you've started. I'm an attorney. I know how to fight this. I'll destroy you in court. I'll make sure you never see Emma again. I'll prove you're unfit, unstable." "With what evidence?" Lisa didn't back down. "The evidence you fabricated? The evidence your own documents admit is fabricated? The email from Amelia where she calls me the obstacle will be neutralized. Your journal where you admit your emotional abuse was intentional." Alexander's face twisted. "Martin Rothman is the best custody attorney in Colorado. And Monday morning at 8:30 a.m., Judge Morrison is calling him into chambers before our hearing," Lisa interrupted. "Probably to sanction him for participating in your custody manipulation scheme. Did you know judges can sanction attorneys who help clients make false allegations? Did you know they can refer them to the bar for ethics violations?" For the first time, real fear flickered across Alexander's face. "The hearing is Monday at 9 a.m., Lisa said. "Emma is staying with my mother tonight and tomorrow. You need to leave this house." "Leave my house?" Alexander's laugh was harsh. "This is my house. I paid the down payment. Actually, we paid the down payment from our joint savings account 6 years ago. Community property, Alexander. You should know that." Lisa pulled her phone from her pocket. "And Judge Morrison issued a temporary order giving me exclusive use of the marital home pending the hearing. So yes, you need to leave." "I'm not going anywhere." Alexander's voice rose. "You want to play legal games? Fine. I'll show you how games are played. By Monday afternoon, I'll have emergency custody of Emma. You'll be lucky to get supervised visitation. I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of mother you really are." "What kind of mother am I, Alexander?" Lisa's voice was dangerously quiet. "The kind who makes our daughter's breakfast every morning while you sleep in? The kind who knows her teacher's name, her best friend's name, her favorite book? The kind who actually shows up to her school events instead of working late with my mistress? Don't you dare. Or am I the kind of mother you described in your fake allegations? The one with excessive work travel, when I've been on 2 trips this year? The emotionally unstable, one whose only crime was crying when her grandmother died? The one with inappropriate boundaries with male colleagues I've met twice at work functions?" Alexander's face was scarlet now. "You're twisting everything. I'm reading your own documents back to you," Lisa said. "Words you wrote. Plans you made. Lies you coordinated with Amelia and your colleagues. You documented everything because you thought I was too stupid to ever find it. You called me too stupid to figure it out in your email to your attorney. Remember?" Alexander was breathing hard now, his lawyer control completely gone, replaced by raw fury. "You need to leave," Lisa repeated. "Now. Or what? You'll call your lawyer?" He sneered. "I don't care what orders some judge issued on Friday afternoon. This is my house, and I'm not leaving. And when I see Emma tomorrow—" "You won't see Emma tomorrow," Lisa interrupted. "Or the next day. The temporary order gives me primary physical custody pending the hearing. You get supervised visitation, which we haven't arranged yet. So you won't see our daughter until Monday at the earliest, and only if the judge grants you visitation. That's illegal. You can't keep my daughter from me. Judge Patricia Morrison can." Lisa met his eyes. "And she did. You want to fight it? Show up Monday morning. Explain to the judge why you plan to fabricate allegations against your wife. Explain the $537,000 you hid. Explain the condo you bought with your mistress using marital funds. Explain the journal where you called watching me try to save our marriage pathetic. I'm sure Judge Morrison will be very understanding." Alexander's hands were shaking now. "You bitch. You manipulative, vindictive bitch. I gave you everything, this house, this life. You gave me 9 years of lies," Lisa said, her voice breaking slightly. You gave our daughter a father who forgot her school play because he was too busy planning romantic getaways with his mistress. You gave me a marriage that ended 5 years ago while I was still trying to save it. And you gave me 87 pages of documented evidence that's going to destroy you in court. I'll tell Emma the truth about you, Alexander threatened, stepping closer again. I'll tell her how her mother turned her father's own family against him. I'll tell her. You'll tell our 6-year-old daughter nothing, Lisa said, pulling out her phone. Because if you attempt any parental alienation, any attempts to damage my relationship with Emma, Judge Morrison will hear about it. And parental alienation is the fastest way to lose custody in Colorado family court. Who's going to tell her? You. Alexander's laugh was cruel. Your word against mine? I'm an attorney. Marvin Chandler will tell her, Lisa said calmly. My attorney. Former prosecutor. 15 years of family law. He specializes in destroying manipulative parents who weaponize their children. And he's very, very good at his job. Marvin Chandler? Something flickered across Alexander's face. Recognition. Maybe respect. Maybe fear. You hired Marvin Chandler? With a contingency fee arrangement on the asset recovery, Lisa said. He gets 35% of whatever hidden money he finds. Given that he's already found $537,000 you stole from our marriage, I'd say it's a good investment. Alexander's phone rang. He looked at the screen, Amelia, and declined the call. She's been calling me too, Lisa said. Threatened me this morning. Said I was destroying your career. I told her to review Morrison and Klein's ethics policy on supervisor-subordinate relationships and think about her own career. She hung up pretty quickly after that. You contacted Amelia? Alexander's face went red again. You had no right. She called me, Lisa corrected. I simply explained the situation. I'm sure Morrison and Klein's general counsel is having a similar conversation with both of you right about now. Affair between supervisor and subordinate. Ethics violation. Potential termination. Partnership track obliterated. Your career is over, Alexander. Even if you somehow won custody, which you won't, you've destroyed your professional reputation. Get out of my way, Alexander said, pushing past her toward the stairs. I need to get some things from my office. No. Lisa stood firm. You're not going upstairs. You're leaving. Now. Or I'm calling the police. The police? Alexander laughed. For what? I live here. For violating Judge Morrison's temporary order that gives me exclusive use of this home. Lisa held up her phone. I have the order right here. I'll read it to the officers when they arrive. You have 60 seconds to leave before I call 911. This is insane. But Alexander's voice had lost its commanding edge. You can't just kick me out of my own house. 45 seconds. Lisa, be reasonable. 30 seconds. I'll need clothes. My work files. Lisa dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? My name is Lisa Brooks. I'm at 2847 South Gilpin Street. My husband is refusing to leave our home in violation of a temporary restraining order issued by Denver Family Court. I need police assistance to enforce the order. Alexander's face went white. You called the cops? Are you insane? Officers are on the way, ma'am, the dispatcher said. Are you in immediate danger? No, but my husband is refusing to comply with the court order. Stay on the line. Units are 3 minutes away. Alexander stood frozen in the foyer, his phone ringing again, Amelia desperate, his world collapsing in real time. 3 minutes later, blue and red lights lit up the front windows. 2 Denver PD officers approached the door. Lisa opened it. Thank you for coming. I have a temporary order from Judge Patricia Morrison requiring my husband to vacate the premises pending an emergency custody hearing Monday morning. She showed them her phone with the court order pulled up. The senior officer, 50s, graying calm, read it carefully. Then looked at Alexander. Sir, do you live here? Yes, this is my house. It's the marital home, Lisa corrected. Community property. The judge issued this order Friday afternoon. The officer nodded. Sir, I need you to leave the premises. You can contest the order in court Monday morning, but right now you need to go. This is ridiculous, Alexander protested. I'm an attorney. I know my rights. Then you know that violating a court order is contempt, the officer said evenly. You can leave voluntarily, or we can arrest you. Your choice. Alexander stared at Lisa with pure hatred. This isn't over. No, Lisa agreed. It's not. It ends Monday morning when Judge Morrison hears how you plan to destroy your daughter's relationship with her mother for a woman worth $4.2 million. Alexander grabbed his keys and wallet from the table and walked out. The officers waited until he got in his car and drove away. Are you going to be okay, ma'am? The younger officer asked. Yes, Lisa said. I meant it. Thank you. After they left, Lisa locked the doors and stood in the quiet house. Her phone buzzed. A text from her mother with a photo of Emma asleep on the couch, arms around her stuffed elephant. She's fine. Asking when you'll be here for breakfast. I love you, sweetheart. You're so strong. Lisa sank onto the couch and let herself cry, not from sadness, but from release. From the weight of years of walking on eggshells, making excuses, blaming herself. That woman was gone. In her place was a mother who'd just kicked her manipulative husband out of the house, who had 87 pages of evidence ready for court Monday morning, who had a legal team that terrified even Alexander. Her phone rang. Marvin Chandler. I heard you called the police, he said. Good. Document everything. Keep the call log, the officers' names, everything. Shows Alexander's willingness to violate court orders. He threatened to tell Emma lies about me, Lisa said, which is parental alienation, and Judge Morrison will destroy him for it. Marvin's voice was confident. Get some rest. Monday morning, we finish this. Lisa hung up and looked around her home. Truly hers now, at least temporarily. Emma was safe. The evidence was irrefutable. And Alexander Brooks, who'd spent 22 months planning to destroy his family, was about to learn what it felt like to be destroyed. Monday morning, November 18th, 2024. Lisa arrived at Denver Family Court at 8:15 a.m., 45 minutes before the hearing. Marvin Chandler was already there, standing outside courtroom 4D with Rachel Kim and a woman Lisa didn't recognize. Mid-20s, professional attire, nervous energy. Stephanie Harrison, Marvin said, making introductions. Our star witness. Stephanie gave Lisa a tight hug. How are you holding up? I'm terrified, Lisa admitted. Don't be. Marvin's voice was confident. I got a call from Judge Morrison's clerk at 7:30 this morning. The judge spent all day Sunday reviewing our evidence package. She's furious. I've been practicing in front of her for 12 years, and I've never heard her this angry. At 8:35 a.m., Alexander arrived with Martin Rothman, a man in his early 60s with silver hair, an expensive charcoal suit, and the bearing of someone who'd never lost a case he thought he should win. Alexander wore his best navy suit, white shirt, red tie. The armor of a corporate attorney. His face was composed, confident. He hadn't learned yet that confidence was about to be his downfall. Rothman didn't acknowledge Marvin. Professional courtesy had evaporated when he'd been summoned to Judge Morrison's chambers at 8:30 a.m., 15 minutes ago. He emerged looking shaken. What did she say? Alexander asked him urgently. Not here, Rothman muttered. At 8:55 a.m., the bailiff opened the courtroom doors. Brooks versus Brooks, emergency custody hearing. All parties please enter. The courtroom was smaller than Lisa expected. Wood paneling, Colorado state flag, maybe 20 seats for observers. Judge Patricia Morrison sat at the bench, mid-50s, black, with steel-gray hair pulled back severely and eyes that could cut through stone. She looked at Alexander with undisguised contempt. Counsel approach, she said. Marvin and Rothman walked to the bench. Lisa couldn't hear the conversation, but she saw Rothman's face go pale, saw him nod repeatedly, saw Judge Morrison's finger pointing at him like a weapon. They returned to their tables. Let the record reflect this is an emergency hearing in the matter of Brooks versus Brooks, case number 2024-DR003847, Judge Morrison said, her voice cold and precise. I've reviewed petitioner's emergency motion and the accompanying evidence package, all 87 pages, along with respondent's response filed late last night. She looked directly at Alexander. I want to state clearly for the record. In 15 years presiding over family law cases, this is one of the most disturbing examples of premeditated parental manipulation I have encountered. Alexander's face flushed. Rothman put a warning hand on his arm. Mr. Rothman, Judge Morrison continued. I called you into chambers this morning to discuss your involvement in what appears to be a coordinated scheme to fabricate allegations against Mrs. Brooks. You assured me you had no knowledge of your client's true intentions. I hope that's true, because if I find evidence you participated in planning false allegations, I will refer you to the Office of Attorney Regulation. Rothman stood. Your Honor, You may sit down. I'm not finished. Judge Morrison's voice was ice. I've ordered a full investigation into both counsel's conduct. If anything in these documents suggests officer of the court violations, there will be consequences. Am I clear? Yes, Your Honor, Rothman said, sitting. Mr. Rothman, you may present your client's position. Rothman stood again, visibly rattled but falling back on his courtroom experience. Your Honor, this motion is a vindictive overreach by a spouse who discovered her husband was considering divorce. Mrs. Brooks has frozen marital assets that provide for the party's child. She's prevented my client from accessing his home. She's making inflammatory allegations based on documents taken from my client's private office without his consent. Marital property, Judge Morrison interrupted. Colorado is a one-party consent state. Mrs. Brooks had every legal right to access documents in the marital home. Continue. Rothman nodded stiffly. Your Honor, Mr. Brooks is a devoted father. He works long hours to provide for his family. Yes, his marriage was deteriorating. Yes, he'd consulted with me about divorce options. But consulting an attorney and planning strategy isn't fraud. It's prudent legal preparation. Mrs. Brooks is weaponizing normal divorce planning to paint my client as a villain. Normal divorce planning, Judge Morrison repeated. Is it normal to prepare false allegations against a spouse? To coordinate witness testimony you know is untrue? To hide over $500,000 in offshore accounts? Your Honor, I can't speak to the origins of those documents. Mr. Brooks created them, Judge Morrison said flatly. They're on his computer, created with his username, saved in directories he password protected. Unless you're suggesting Mrs. Brooks is a criminal hacker? No, Your Honor, but... Then let's discuss the substance. Mr. Chandler, you have witnesses? Marvin stood. Yes, Your Honor. We call Stephanie Harrison. Stephanie walked to the witness stand, was sworn in and sat. Her hands trembled slightly, but her voice was steady. Ms. Harrison, Marvin began, what is your occupation? I'm a server at Il Giardino restaurant in downtown Denver. And did you observe Alexander Brooks at your restaurant? Yes. Every Wednesday and Friday evening for approximately 20 months. He came with a woman named Amelia Ashford. They sat in booth 9. They were romantic, holding hands, kissing, acting like a couple. Did you overhear any conversations between them? Yes. On October 4th, 2024, I heard them discussing divorce papers and custody strategy. Mr. Brooks had documents spread on the table. I could see the header Brooks versus Brooks custody plan. Ms. Ashford was coaching him. She said something about making sure Lisa, Mrs. Brooks, couldn't afford to fight, that she'd be neutralized. Alexander shifted uncomfortably. Rothman made notes furiously. Why did you come forward with this information? Marvin asked. Stephanie's eyes filled with tears. Because my father did this to my mother. Hid money. Made false allegations. Took me and my brother from her for 3 years. I was 9 years old. I know what this does to children. I couldn't watch it happen to Mrs. Brooks's daughter without trying to help. Thank you, Ms. Harrison. Rothman stood for cross-examination. Ms. Harrison, you're not a lawyer, correct? No. So you don't actually know if the documents you saw were false allegations or legitimate concerns, do you? I know what I heard Ms. Ashford say. That Mrs. Brooks would be neutralized. That she'd be too broke to fight. That Mr. Brooks should file for sole custody. Those were her exact words. Rothman had no response to that. We call Rachel Kim, Marvin said. Rachel took the stand, her credentials as a former FBI financial crimes investigator immediately establishing her credibility. Ms. Kim, what did your investigation reveal? Systematic financial fraud spanning 22 months. Mr. Brooks moved $537,000 from marital accounts into offshore accounts in his name only. He purchased a $840,000 condominium using $340,000 from the marital investment account, listing himself and Amelia Ashford as co-owners. He created a shell company to hide the mortgage payments. He redirected bonuses totaling $180,000, telling his wife they were smaller than they actually were, and deposited the difference into hidden accounts. In your professional opinion, was this accidental? Absolutely not. This was sophisticated, calculated, and premeditated. Mr. Brooks is an attorney. He knew exactly how to conceal assets and create a paper trail that excluded his wife. Rothman tried to discredit her testimony, but Rachel's credentials and meticulous documentation were unassailable. Then Marvin played the audio. Your Honor, with the court's permission, I'd like to read excerpts from Mr. Brooks's personal journal, recovered from his computer. Proceed. Marvin read in a clear, steady voice. August 15, 2023. Lisa won't fit in this life. She's become background noise in her own marriage. I feel nothing when I look at her. Alexander stared at the table. October 3, 2023. Lisa's travel for work, minimal as it is, gives us an opening. Her emotionality gives us another. I just need to document everything, build the narrative, and strike fast. January 8, 2024. Watching Lisa try so hard is almost pathetic. She has no idea I'm counting down the days until I file. The courtroom was silent. Even Rothman looked uncomfortable. Your Honor, Marvin continued, Mr. Brooks's own custody plan document states, and I quote, document maternal unfitness, note, emphasize travel even though actual trips are minimal. Perception matters more than reality. Judge Morrison's face was stone. Mr. Brooks, stand up. Alexander stood slowly. Did you move $537,000 into accounts without your wife's knowledge? Your Honor, those were investments. Yes or no, Mr. Brooks? Yes. Did you purchase a condominium with Amelia Ashford using marital funds? It was a business investment. Yes or no? Yes. Did you create a document titled Brooks versus Brooks, custody plan, that detailed fabricated allegations against your wife? Silence. Mr. Brooks, answer the question. Your Honor, it was a draft. I was exploring options. Did the document state that perceptions matter more than reality regarding your wife's work travel? Yes. Did you write in your personal journal that watching your wife try to save your marriage was pathetic? Alexander's voice was barely audible. Yes. Judge Morrison leaned forward. Mr. Brooks, you're an attorney. You know that parental alienation, false allegations, and fraudulent concealment of assets are among the most serious issues this court encounters in custody cases. You documented your intention to commit all three. Why? Your Honor, I never intended. You documented it, Mr. Brooks. You wrote it down. You created spreadsheets. You coordinated with witnesses. You consulted with your mistress about how to destroy your wife financially and take your daughter from her. Did you think there would be no consequences? Alexander said nothing. Judge Morrison looked at her notes. Here's my ruling. Temporary primary physical custody is awarded to petitioner Lisa Brooks. Respondent Alexander Brooks is granted supervised visitation, 6 hours per week, location and supervisor to be determined by mutual agreement or by the court. Alexander's face went white. All marital assets remain frozen pending full forensic accounting. I'm ordering a comprehensive investigation into Mr. Brooks's finances, including the Cayman Islands accounts, the Summit Ridge property, and the Shell Company. All findings will be presented at the permanent orders hearing. Your Honor, Rothman started to object. I'm not finished, Mr. Rothman. I'm also ordering an investigation into the affair between Mr. Brooks and Ms. Ashford. If that relationship began while she was his supervisor at Morrison and Klein, which the evidence suggests, there may be additional legal and professional consequences. She looked at Alexander. Mr. Brooks, I am deeply disturbed by your conduct. You plan to use your daughter as a weapon. You plan to destroy your wife financially. You documented your scheme with the arrogance of someone who thought they'd never be caught. You were wrong. Permanent orders hearing is set for January 15, 2025. Mr. Brooks, I strongly suggest you prepare to explain to this court why you should have any custody at all. We're adjourned. The gavel cracked like thunder. Alexander walked out of the courtroom like a man in shock. Outside, Amelia Ashford waited, wearing sunglasses despite the indoor lighting. She grabbed his arm. What happened? Supervised visitation, Alexander said hollowly. 6 hours a week. Everything frozen. Full forensic audit. Ethics investigation. Ethics investigation? Amelia's face went pale. Of us. The judge knows about the affair. Morrison and Klein's general counsel already called me yesterday. They're opening an ethics inquiry. I'm suspended pending investigation. Amelia stepped back. I can't be associated with this. I have a partnership track. I have. You said we'd be together, Alexander said desperately. You said once I had custody. That was before you documented everything like an idiot, Amelia hissed. You kept journals? Spreadsheets? What were you thinking? She turned and walked away, heels clicking on marble. Alexander stood alone in the courthouse hallway, destroyed. Inside the courtroom, Lisa hugged Marvin Chandler. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you for saving my daughter. You saved her, Marvin said. You fought. That's all any mother can do. Lisa walked out of the courthouse into November sunshine. Emma was safe. The house was hers. And Alexander Brooks had learned what happens when you underestimate a mother protecting her child. Justice, Lisa thought, felt exactly like this. The settlement negotiations took 6 weeks. 6 weeks of Alexander's attorneys. He'd fired Martin Rothman and hired someone cheaper, trying to find leverage that didn't exist. 6 weeks of Marvin Chandler calmly dismantling every argument with evidence Alexander himself had created. By December 23, 2024, it was over. Alexander returned all $537,000 from the hidden offshore accounts. He surrendered his equity in the marital home, $380,000. He paid Lisa's legal fees, $87,000. He agreed to primary physical custody remaining with Lisa, with standard visitation resuming after he completed court-mandated co-parenting classes. But the real damage happened outside the courtroom. Morrison and Klein's ethics committee completed its investigation on December 2nd. The affair between Alexander and Amelia Ashford, which began in 2020, while she was a senior partner and he was a senior associate reporting directly to her, violated the firm's explicit prohibition on supervisor-subordinate relationships. The committee's report was scathing: conduct unbecoming of firm values, breach of professional ethics, misrepresentation of relationship status to partners. Alexander was given a choice: resign immediately or be terminated for cause. He resigned on December 5th, forfeiting his partnership track and his $50,000 year-end bonus. Amelia fared slightly better. As a senior partner, she had more protection. But the partnership voted 12-3 to demote her to counsel, a title-only position with no profit sharing, no management authority, and no path back to partnership. Her income dropped from $380,000 to $185,000 overnight. Her husband, Dr. Robert Ashford, filed for divorce on December 10th. The court documents, which became public record, detailed the affair and cited adultery and financial impropriety as grounds. Denver's legal community, small, gossipy, unforgiving, had a field day. By mid-December, Rachel Kim's forensic audit uncovered something even Marvin hadn't expected. A third account, opened in Amelia's name but funded by Alexander. Another $95,000 hidden away, presumably for their future together. Total asset recovery, $632,000, plus the house equity. After Rachel's contingency fee, 35% of $632,000 equals $221,200, and Marvin's fees, $87,000, Lisa netted $703,800. More than enough to secure Emma's future, fund college accounts, and rebuild her life. Alexander, meanwhile, spent December and January applying for positions at mid-tier firms across Colorado. The ethics violation on his record, coupled with the very public custody manipulation case, made him toxic. Firms that would have fought to hire him a year ago wouldn't return his calls. By February 2025, he took a contract position at a small litigation firm in Aurora. No benefits. No partnership track. $120,000 annually. 44% less than he'd earned at Morrison and Klein. He moved into a one-bedroom apartment in Capitol Hill. No view. No granite countertops. No life with Amelia, who stopped returning his calls after her demotion. Lisa, by contrast, thrived. Her director at Pharmatech Solutions, who'd watched Lisa handle the divorce with remarkable composure, never missing quota, never letting personal crisis affect professional performance, promoted her to regional director in January 2025. New title. New salary, $245,000. New team of 12 sales representatives she'd mentor. You handled the hardest thing most people ever face, her director told her. And you never stopped being excellent. That's leadership. 6 months after that Monday morning hearing, Lisa stood in her kitchen now fully hers, making Emma's favorite chocolate chip cookies. Emma, now 7, sat at the counter doing homework, her tongue poking out in concentration as she practiced spelling words. "Mommy, how do you spell grateful?" Emma asked. "Sound it out, baby. You can do it." "Grateful. Almost. It's grateful. Great job." Emma wrote it carefully, then looked up. "We learned about gratitude in school today. Ms. Patterson said it means being thankful for things. I wrote that I'm grateful for you." Lisa's eyes filled with tears. "I'm grateful for you too, Sunflower. And for Grandma. And for our house. And for my new therapist, Dr. Sarah is nice." Emma went back to her homework. "I didn't write about Daddy because I don't see him very much." The court-mandated therapy was helping Emma process the divorce. Dr. Sarah Chun, a child psychologist specializing in family transitions, reported that Emma was resilient, well-adjusted, and showed no signs of trauma. Alexander's supervised visits had become standard visitation after he completed co-parenting classes, but he only exercised it sporadically. "Daddy loves you," Lisa said carefully, the way Dr. Chin had coached her. "Sometimes grown-ups make choices that change things. But you're not responsible for those choices." "I know," Emma said matter-of-factly. "Dr. Sarah told me that too." In March 2025, Lisa reached out to Stephanie Harrison. They met for coffee at a cafe near DU Law School, where Stephanie was finishing her final semester. "I wanted to thank you properly," Lisa said, sliding an envelope across the table. Stephanie opened it. Inside was a check for $30,000 and a note. "For your mother, who fought and won. And for you, who made sure another mother could do the same. With eternal gratitude, Lisa and Emma." Stephanie's eyes filled with tears. "Lisa, I can't, this is too much." "It's not," Lisa interrupted gently. "Your mother lost everything fighting for you and your brother. This will help her rebuild. And you risked your job, potentially legal consequences, to save a stranger's child. That kind of courage deserves recognition." "My mom will cry when she sees this," Stephanie whispered. "Good tears, I hope. The best kind." Stephanie wiped her eyes. "Marvin offered me a position at his firm after graduation." "Did he tell you?" "He mentioned he was recruiting someone exceptional." "I want to do what he does," Stephanie said fiercely. "Help mothers who are being manipulated. Stop fathers who weaponize children. I lived through it. Now I want to fight it." "You'll be amazing," Lisa said. That spring, Lisa joined a support group for mothers navigating high-conflict custody situations. The group met Thursday evenings at a community center in Wash Park. 8 women, all at different stages of legal battles, all fighting to protect their children from vindictive ex-partners. Lisa shared her story, shared the evidence that saved her, shared Marvin's contact information, shared the lessons she'd learned: documentation, strategic timing, and refusing to underestimate yourself. By summer, she was co-facilitating the group, helping new mothers understand their rights, walking them through the emotional warfare of custody battles, reminding them that survival wasn't weakness, it was strength. "You're not just surviving," she told a new member in June. A woman whose husband was threatening to take her children because she'd started therapy for depression. "You're learning what you're made of. And you're stronger than you think." 1 year after that devastating dinner at Il Giardino, Lisa attended Emma's first-grade end-of-year program. Emma had a solo in the school chorus, for lines about sunshine and friendship, delivered with confident enthusiasm. Alexander was there. Lisa had texted him the date and time, as the custody agreement required. He sat 3 rows back, alone, looking smaller somehow. Less imposing. His suit was off the rack, his haircut less polished. He'd aged visibly in 12 months. After the program, Emma ran to Lisa first. "Did you see me, Mommy? Did I do good? You were perfect, Sunflower." Lisa hugged her daughter tight. "I'm so proud of you. Can we get ice cream?" "Absolutely." Alexander approached tentatively. "Emma, you were wonderful." "Thanks, Daddy." Emma's voice was polite but distant. The warmth she'd once had for him had faded, eroded by his sporadic visits and her growing awareness that he'd hurt Mommy. "Can I talk to your mom for a minute?" Emma looked at Lisa, who nodded. "Go wait with Grandma, baby. I'll be right there." After Emma left, Alexander and Lisa stood in awkward silence. "You look good," Alexander said finally. "Happy." "I am. I wanted to say, I'm sorry. For everything. For what I planned. For what I did to you, to Emma. I was." He trailed off. "I don't have an excuse. I was selfish. Cruel. I convinced myself I deserved more than what we had, and I destroyed everything trying to get it." Lisa looked at the man she'd once loved. Felt nothing, no anger, no satisfaction, no pain. Just a distant curiosity about how she'd ever been married to someone who'd become so irrelevant to her life. "I don't need your apology, Alexander," she said quietly. "I needed you to be a decent father. To show up for your daughter. To not use her as a weapon. You chose differently. I know. And I lost everything because of it." "You lost what you tried to steal," Lisa corrected. "There's a difference. Are you happy? Really?" Lisa thought about her home. Truly hers now, filled with Emma's laughter and artwork and toys. About her career, finally given the recognition she deserved. About the support group where she helped other mothers find their strength. About mornings making breakfast without walking on eggshells. About bedtime stories without resentment hanging in the air. "Yes," she said. "Emma and I are fine. Better than fine." Alexander nodded, defeated. "I'm glad. She deserves to be happy. You both do." Lisa walked away without looking back. That evening, Lisa and Emma baked cookies in their kitchen. A Sunday night ritual they'd started after the divorce. Emma measured ingredients with intense concentration, flour dusting her nose, tongue poking out exactly the way it did when she did homework. "Mommy," Emma said, cracking an egg. "Are you happy?" The question caught Lisa off guard. "Why do you ask, baby?" "Because you smile a lot now. And you laugh. And you sing in the kitchen. You didn't used to do that when Daddy lived here." Lisa's throat tightened. "Did you notice that?" "Yeah. You were always tired. Now you're lighter. Like a balloon." Emma grinned at her metaphor. Lisa pulled her daughter into a hug, breathing in the scent of vanilla and childhood and safety. "Yes, Sunflower. I'm happy. Really, truly happy." "Me too," Emma said. "I like it being just us. And Grandma. And Dr. Sarah. And Uncle Marvin sometimes." Lisa laughed. "Uncle Marvin? That's what I call him in my head. He's nice. He bought me a book about strong girls." "He did?" "Yeah. It's about a girl who fights a dragon. She wins." "Of course she does," Lisa whispered. They finished the cookies together, Emma chattering about second-grade plans and her best friend Zoe, and whether they could get a dog, maybe someday. Normal childhood concerns. No fear of abandonment. No confusion about custody battles. Just a 7-year-old girl who felt safe and loved and secure. Later, after Emma was asleep, Lisa stood in her daughter's doorway watching her breathe. The same doorway where she'd stood a year ago, terrified of losing her child, preparing to go to war. She'd won that war. But more than that, she'd discovered something profound. The fiercest love is a mother protecting her child. And sometimes the greatest gift is discovering you're stronger than you ever knew. Lisa had spent years making herself smaller for Alexander, apologizing for existing, blaming herself for his distance, trying to save a marriage that had died years before she knew it was over. That woman was gone. In her place stood someone who'd fought attorneys and judges, and a system designed to favor the powerful. Someone who'd frozen accounts and filed motions, and called police when necessary. Someone who'd looked her manipulative husband in the eye and said, "Not my daughter. Not ever." And she'd won. Not just custody. Not just money. Not just the house. She'd won herself back. Her phone buzzed. A text from the support group. A new mother asking for advice, terrified she was about to lose her children to a husband who'd hidden assets. Lisa smiled and began typing. First, breathe. Second, document everything. Third, know that you're stronger than you think. I promise you, you can survive this. And on the other side is a life you can't even imagine yet. One where you're not afraid anymore. Call me tomorrow. We'll make a plan. Because that's what survivors do. They fight. They win. And then they turn around and help the next woman do the same. Lisa walked to her kitchen, poured a glass of wine, and stood at the window overlooking her backyard. Her backyard, her home, her life, and allowed herself to feel it all. Relief. Pride. Peace. The greatest revenge she'd learned wasn't revenge at all. It was living well, being happy, protecting what mattered, and refusing to let anyone, not Alexander, not Amelia, not fear itself, define her worth. To strong women, Lisa whispered, raising her glass to the night sky. May we know them. May we be them. May we raise them. And in the bedroom down the hall, Emma Brooks slept soundly, dreaming of dragons and brave girls who always won. Sometimes betrayal is a gift. It removes people who don't value you and makes space for you to discover your own strength. Lisa Brooks walked into Il Giardino desperate to save a marriage that was already dead. She walked out with the truth that would save her daughter's life. The fiercest love is a mother protecting her child. And sometimes the greatest gift is discovering you're stronger than you ever knew.